Today, we are diving deep into the beautiful Japanese art of kintsugi. And look, it's not just about mending a broken pot. It's a whole philosophy, really. One that's all about finding beauty in imperfection and, well, real strength in the act of healing. So let me ask you this. What if breaking something wasn't the end of its story? What if repairing it could actually make it more beautiful? That's the big question Kintsugi answers. Instead of trying to hide the cracks, this art form puts them on full display, often with shimmering gold, to celebrate the object's history, its whole journey of being shattered and then pieced back together. It literally turns the damage into its most stunning feature. Now, you might be thinking a process this profound must use all sorts of complicated materials. But what's so incredible here is that this whole system of repair, it's built from the ground up, starting with just one single, natural, and unbelievably powerful ingredient. And here it is, urushi. This is the secret sauce, the main event. It's a natural lacquer, nothing more than sap from a tree. But get this, it is the absolute foundation for every single paste and putty we're about to make. You can think of it as the DNA of the entire repair process. Everything starts here. Okay, so you've got broken pieces. Where do you start? Well, you need glue, right? So the very first material we're going to create is called Mugi-urushi. Its one and only job is to be a super strong, all-natural adhesive. And the recipe for our adhesive is just beautifully simple. All you need is some wheat flour, a little water, and, you guessed it, our star ingredient, raw urushi. The tools are just as straightforward: a flat surface, a spatula, and some ethanol to keep things clean. Making it is actually a really satisfying hands-on process. First, you just mix the flour and water to make a simple paste. Then you bring in the urushi, mixing it one-to-one with that flour paste. And as you knead it all together, you just watch it transform into this perfect reddish-brown adhesive. And here's a fantastic little detail from our source material that I just love, because it makes it so intuitive. So how do you know when your flour and water paste is right? Well, you want it to have the consistency of an earlobe. No, seriously, it's that kind of tactile, passed-down knowledge that makes a craft like kintsugi so special, you know? So here's the bottom line. Mugi-urushi is the bond. Its job is simple but absolutely vital. It takes all those separate, broken pieces and joins them back into a whole, getting everything ready for the next stage of healing. Okay, so the pieces are glued together, but what about those little chips and gaps where a piece was totally lost? That is where our second material, Kokuso, comes into play. And you'll see it builds directly on what we've already done. This is what I mean about the elegance of this system. We don't have to start from scratch. The main ingredient for our filler putty, Kokuso, is the Mugi-urushi we just made. To that, we just add some fine wood powder and some sunbeji powder, which is basically diatomaceous earth, to give it structure and bulk. And the process just makes so much sense. You take your adhesive and you basically evolve it. You knead in those powders until you can't even see the wood grains anymore, and you're left with this thick, dark, super durable putty that's ready to rebuild anything that was lost. So the why for Kokuso is all about reconstruction. It's a structural filler. If Mugi-urushi joins things together, Kokuso rebuilds them. It gives the object its physical form back, making it whole in shape, not just in separate pieces. All right, we've joined the pieces, we've filled the gaps, the object is structurally sound again, but the surface, it's still a little rough, a little uneven. To get it ready for that final, beautiful, decorative finish, we need one last layer, the smoother, and that is called sobi. So for this final paste, guess what we turn to? Our core ingredient, urushi, of course. This time, we're going to mix it with water and a brand new component, tonoko powder. This stuff is a super fine polishing powder that comes from whetstones, and that's the key to what it does. You starting to see the pattern here? Once again, we mix our powder with water, and yep, we're aiming for that familiar earlobe feel again, and then we blend it with our raw urushi. The source material is really specific here. It actually recommends a 6:4 ratio of paste to lacquer, which creates the finest, smoothest paste of all three. So, what's Savi's job? It's all about perfection. You apply it right over the other repairs. As the finest of the three pastes, it's designed to fill in any tiny microscopic imperfections and create a flawlessly smooth surface. It's the perfect canvas for those final layers of decorative lacquer and gold. So let's take a step back. We have an adhesive, a filler, and a smoother. When you look at them all together, you start to realize this isn't just a random collection of recipes. It is a complete, totally elegant system for repair. And here it is, the big aha moment. This chart just lays it all out so perfectly. Mugi-urushi glues, then Kokuso, which is literally built from Mugi-urushi, fills. And finally, Sabi comes in to smooth everything over, prepping for the beautiful finish. Each one has its own clear, logical job, building right on top of the last. It's brilliant. And really, that's the thing to remember. From one humble ingredient, the sap from a tree, generations of artisans developed this incredible three-part system. A system that doesn't just patch something up, but truly heals it, making it whole and ready for its next chapter. And that brings us right back to where we started, to the philosophy of it all. Kintsugi teaches us that breaking and being repaired doesn't make an object less valuable, it just adds to its story. The cracks aren't flaws we should hide, they're a history we should treasure. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.